I'm Marsha Brooker. Sitting here in a very nice atmosphere in an afternoon right in front of the President's Garden. The President's Garden is a big mystery in the village. Let me introduce you to the people who are to my left. This is Ron Duva, who is chair of the Landscape Committee. This is Vicki Luckower, who is a member of the Landscape Committee. And this is Britt with a D, and I can't remember your last name, I'm
Prada.
sorry. Okay. Who is a landscape designer who actually lives in the village and helped us. I'm going to start with Ron first with a little bit of history. The President's Garden was donated or was dedicated during the 50th anniversary, and there was never money put aside for it to do anything with it. It does have a plaque on it of all of the presidents that served for the first 50 years, and we are in the process of getting another one. So last year, Ron Duva said to me, "What's happening with the President's Garden?" And I said, "I don't know." So he said, "Well, let's work on it." So he said, "Give me an idea of what you think you'd like to do." So I did that, and I'm not a designer or anything. I just like to garden. So I gave it to him, and he thought it looked pretty good. So we started working on it last year.
Yep.
Okay, and Ron, talk a little bit about the involvement that your committee had to get this done.
Okay. What we did is when we start the new year, we kind of brainstorm on what we want to do with our budgeted money. And this year we decided to put our efforts into the President's Garden. The reason why we did it is because very few residents knew about it. They would drive by it and not even know that it was here. So we decided to do it. One of our committee members, Harvey's wife, which is Britt over there, is a landscape designer. So I decided to pick her brain and ask her if she would help us. And through the winter, we went back and forth with emails and everything, and Britt decided on a design that we could do. We took that design and started deciding what we're going to do and how we were going to plant it. So that's how it came to be. The efforts that were involved was a two-stage effort. Obviously, we couldn't do everything in one day, so we did it on two separate Mondays. We also had management's crew here, Devin Parker, Javier, Tony, Doug Welton, and Bill Russo overseed the whole thing. Any kind of supplies or goods that we needed, we had them on a moment's notice. So it was a joint effort by everybody, and it was quite successful.
The whole idea about the President's Garden is not only to beautify this corner, but a lot of people walk through here, and we have people who play tennis right next door, that if they want to come over here, eventually we're going to get benches. Everything is driven by budgets, so this is kind of like the first step. It's going to be a place where people can come and they can sit all times of the year. Of course, the flowers are not going to be out at all times, unless you work some kind of magic I don't know about. So it's really almost like a public garden dedicated to the presidents. When we get it all finished, probably, if we get the money that we need for next year, we'll probably be able to rededicate it next year.
Right,
Okay.
right.
Vicki helped me a little bit. We came up here one day in the winter, freezing. And we're walking off things and, oh, well, this has to go and this has to go. And if you remember, there used to be 5 big trees here, and that's all there was here.
Right.
And so we needed to make some space, and there were bumps and there were all kinds of things here. And the village was, Bill and his staff and driven by my friend here, got it all done so that we could come in and we could do this. And We have a few other ideas about the grass here, but we're not going to talk about that now. Vicki, tell us a little bit about your gardening experience and why you were
Sure. Like many of us, owned a home, did a lot of planting over the years, a lot of experimentation, and learned what works and what doesn't work. And we're very lucky to have Brid to help us because she has more expertise in what works. But I love to garden, and when I moved here, I joined Ron's team and met a lot of fellow gardeners, and we have a great time together. It's really a wonderful activity if you like to garden.
Even if you only like to water, they need water.
Exactly. But we really do work together
Yes,
as a
we do.
team, and Ron's been wonderful, motivating us to do all sorts of stuff.
And I'm almost one of the newest people that is on the committee. And unfortunately, my back was really bad, so I couldn't
Right.
get down on my hands and knees and do any planting. But to watch just everybody just moving and knowing what they're going to do next, and the fellows that were on Bill's crew that were here helping us,
Yeah.
and what they know, and they just know how deep that they have to plant things and everything, and it was really, really great. Not only working on this, but we worked on the garden down by
At the meeting house,
and
right.
the parking lot there
Yeah.
too.
Transformed it.
We did. I mean, right. Transformers, here we are. right?
Absolutely.
Okay, Britt. As a professional, we are very, very lucky to have you.
Yes.
I mean, have you as a professional to kind of guide us and whatever. Of course, the garden design that she did was all to scale and all accurate. Mine was on a piece of line paper with a circle and a few X's that we should do.
It was a great start.
Exactly. We knew we wanted a circle.
So
We knew the look.
So I get this thing, and it's like, wow, I had no idea. And then she came out and walked through it with one day in the winter, and it was really cold, and gave us a few suggestions. What was the basis of you deciding that? I mean, we had some things decided, excuse me, that we wanted, but why did you help us decide that we should get this as opposed to this?
Well, I think the design intent for what is essentially a public garden is to have something that is very long lasting. So we thought about trees first. We needed a place where people would be invited through a walkway, even through a crosswalk, which will all be ADA compliant once Bill Russo and crew have got everything done and we have the budget for it. So that was the overall picture, was to provide a low maintenance permanent garden space.
Now, when you say low maintenance, does that mean that something doesn't need to be weeded or doesn't need to be?
Oh, weeding is forever. The answer to
Like
weeding,
taxes.
the answer to weeding is weeding. There are some shortcuts in life. This is not one of them, right? No, by low maintenance, we planted dwarf shrubs that will require less pruning and care. We've planted trees that will grow to a medium size, and they will never become a hazardous tree that needs to be taken down. We reduce the maintenance for the crew here. Along the edge, people can see from the road the planting of junipers, which Ron had started elsewhere. So another design intent was to unify this garden, have this garden be a part of the larger whole of the gardening here at Heritage Village.
And one of the things that's really nice, and if you haven't stopped to really take a look at the activities building, the gardens really complement one another.
That's the unity.
Yeah.
And,
Ron started to put his mark down when we started with the junipers, both upright and the ground cover ones.
yeah, well, Vicki and I thought of the blue spruce.
Oh, and the blue spruces. We can't let those go.
The dwarf ones.
We have it all here.
We have it all.
We have it all.
And we actually have a lot of native pollinator plants
Yes.
that will give seasonal color and supply nectar and pollen to butterflies and bees, really from April until November.
Okay, we did a magic trick, and we changed the people who were sitting to my left. And I would like you to introduce you to two people who are very, very active with the landscaping committee. How about if you just introduce yourself and then I'll get your name right.
Judy
And
and Allison.
Allison. And the handsome gentleman to my left is
Bill.
Bill Russo, who I hope you all know at this point is head of the grounds committee and whatever. And Bill, I have to really thank you for the help that you guys gave us. It was amazing to pull up here and see a flatbed of all of the plants, and it was like, oh my, maybe I'll go. I mean, because it was a flatbed just absolutely full of plants, and you took care of those when we had to do it, when we had to leave them overnight and stuff. And then they dug holes for us, and we really appreciate your cooperation, and that's really terrific. Now, these two ladies are like human planters. Judy takes the plants and she puts them all around, and then she stands back and says, we got to move that one a little bit. So she kind of organizes things, and
Allison was
Allison-
right next to me.
right would
Oh,
say,
yeah.
and then she'd say, well, we need there's one there that we haven't done anything with. Maybe we should put it over here. So even though we had a plan that was on the paper and we had a beautiful color rendering of all of the plants that we were going to put in that Brid did for us, there were still some things that we had to pull from other places that had been planted there.
Yeah, a little improvising.
Right, and
Yeah.
that's where these guys were
Yeah.
really, really terrific.
Well, yeah, I was kind of bossy.
Well, you were, but that's fine. Every job needs a boss, right?
Yeah. It was fun, though. It really was fun. And again, thanks to Bill's guys that came in, because they really were the muscle with this. It was, well needed. And
It's all rock.
yeah, the what?
It's all rock.
It's all rock. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
But as you can all see, the end result is just fabulous. Yeah.
What you can't see with us sitting here is the slope that goes down to First Avenue. That has all kinds of junipers on it that will spread, and that will help with mowing, so it won't have to be mowed, so your guys will really like that. Altogether, how many plants do you think we planted?
I hear a number of 187, but I'm sure there was more than that.
Right.
There was
Because-
a lot, because we did it in 2 different stages, 2 different dates, 3 gardens that we did, because we even have over by the stables that were done.
Right there. Not
Right there. Okay, so there was a lot of plants.
But you know what? The plants are thriving. We have people who water on weekends. We have people
Yes.
on your crew that water. And I would like to put out an invitation to anyone in the village. If you have some time, contact Ron, because something always needs to be watered. And if you have grass seed down, make sure you water it, because it's not going to grow if it's not watered. And it's a lot of effort that is being put out that's just going to kind of, fizzle if you don't do that. Come to a meeting the first Wednesday. Just see what we do, because we do have a lot of fun, even though it's, very businesslike. We have people that know what they're doing. We have people that know about plants, and Ron doesn't beat us into, doing anything. So it's really wonderful. But
That's debatable.
Right. We also, when you see Ron around, more than likely you're going to see him with a shovel or a rake or carrying something that looks like a plant. Please stop and thank him for all the work that he did.
Yes.
Okay? So I thank you all for coming and being part of this. And
Thank you.
And Britt, I thank you and for all the work that you did, and I thank the audience. I thank Ed for taping this for us.
Yes.
And it's starting to rain, so we're wrapping it up, okay? Thank you very much.